Good afternoon, everyone. This week we're having a very special Parsha, but it's a very important idea to learn about. And this week's Parsha. We're learning about the mitzvah of tzedakah, about helping and caring for another person. And as we know, the mitzvah of tzedakah, this is one of the most important mitzvot. And in the Talmud Yerushalmi, in Jerusalem Talmud, whenever they mention the idea of a mitzvah, they mention the mitzvah of tzedakah. And this week's Parsha, we really learning a lot about it, being elaborate about it. Just mention a couple of words about this idea. When the Torah speaks to us about being kind and nice to the one that needs your help, there's a few statements. One of them, the words of Torah is, Patoach tiftach, open yourself up towards this fellow. And as you read the words, Patoach tiftach is really a double language. Patoach means open yourself up. Tiftach means again, open yourself up. So as Rashi, the commentator, explains us, when you have to be open to someone else, really open yourself many, many times. And then the Torah continues, and Torah says, give the poor. And the Torah again uses the words, naton titen. Naton means to give. And again we have a double language, naton titen. Give, you should give. And again, why is the Torah again repeat? So the explanation of Rashi is that you got to do it even 100 times. So we see how important the Torah speaks about the mitzvah of tzedakah. And this is why it's being repeated in the same parsha twice. And every time it's speaking about it, it's like a double word, patoach tiftach, or naton titen. There's many commentaries talking about it, explaining why is this mitzvah being mentioned in the parsha in such a strong words, like a double word. And as I saw in some commentaries, they explain that what the idea of naton titen, for example, what does it say? Give, you should give. And I saw something very nice, and I mentioned the first time when you see somebody in need, you feel like giving him. But the second time when you see him again, the excitement is not the same anymore. As we all have that feeling. When you see what the Torah mentions to you, naton titen. First time you were excited, you gave. Second time, even you're not excited, just keep on giving. And the word of the Torah says, lemor naton titen. Lemor means even the words, the way you give it to him, it should be given with a smile. You should give it to him well. Or the same thing, there's some commentaries talking about this idea of patoach tiftach. And this is, as I recall, one of the great commentaries, we call him the Shach on the Torah. And he explains, what does it mean, patoach tiftach, like a double word about opening? Opening what? And he explains to us, and he says that a Jew's always got to be open to give. You can't wait. Only when you see somebody in need, always we have to be kind-hearted, wanting willingly to give. That as soon as somebody needs, we don't have to go through a situation to give them. We should always be open and give right away. And give it with a full heart. There's a beautiful story, mentioned many times, about the two great students of the Baal HaTanya, the first Rebbe of Chabad. One of them, his name was Reb Zalman of Dubrovna. That's what he called him. A great chassid, very, very wealthy Jew. There's another chassid, much more popular in the history of Chabad, and he's named Reb Pinchas Reizes. Very popular chassid, great chassid, known chassid, but also a very, very wealthy man. And the story goes that he once, Reb Pinchas, the great chassid and the wealthy Jew, heard about his colleague, his friend Reb Zalman, about his kindness of giving and helping and sharing to other people. So he decided he wants to go see and learn from him how to help another Jew. When the story goes, he traveled because Reb Zalman of Bravni, if I'm not mistaken, lived in St. Petersburg. And he went to his house to see how does he do the mitzvah of tzedakah. Not Reb Pinchas was not giving tzedakah. Very open-hearted Jew, helping everyone. But he said, I can learn from my friend how to do more and better. And he says a story, he went to his friend, Reb Zalman. And he asked him if he could stay by him a bit, he wants to learn from him. And as a friend, a colleague, he said, for sure. He hosted him in his house, and he gave him a room, etc. And he was watching the way he gives tzedakah. And he showed him that he has 3 barrels. Every barrel is full of coins. One barrel was full of gold coins. The other barrel was full of silver coins. And the third barrel was full of copper coins. When people would come to him for tzedakah, and he would see the person, it would be a great rabbi, he would put his hand into the barrel of gold, just fill up his hand and give him as much as it's in his hand that would give him. Or the same thing others, he would open the barrel of silver and he would put his hand and take out whatever comes into his hand of silver coins and give. And the copper was for others, he would just whatever comes into his hand he would give. And he was sitting by him for a while and learning from him, and he said he will do the same thing. When he came back home, Reb Pinchas, he lived in the city Shklov, that's known. Used to be a great city of many, many great Jews in that time. When he came back to his house, he decided he will do the same thing. You have to help. He just kept having 3 barrels of money, gold, silver, and copper. And people would come to him, line up, and he would just give them the same as his friend, Reb Zalman. When he went to his Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe, and he told the Alter Rebbe about what he learned, the way tzedakah was done by his friend, and he's doing the same thing. So the Alter Rebbe tells him, so, are you doing now the same as your friend? He says, no. As much as I will try, I am still not kind-hearted and given like my friend Reb Zalman. When the Baal HaTanya asked him why, so he says, you know what the difference between me and him is? Me, when I do the same thing, I put my hands into the barrel and I take the money out and I give. But every time I open up my hand, at least to see how much am I giving, how much I'm helping. When I went to visit my friend Reb Zalman, when he would put in his hand in the barrel and give the money, he wouldn't even look how much it is. He would just take his hand and give it to that poor person. This is, he says, a major difference. That's the real idea of giving tzedakah. That's the idea, as the Shach says, patoach tiftach. We have to be completely open, completely devoted to people of need and give them as much as we can, and even more so. Especially this Parsha relates, we're going into the month of Elul, when, as we know, the Maimonides writes, at the month of Elul is a great mitzvah in order to have a good coming year, to start giving lots of tzedakah and a lot of help to people. So how beautiful it is that this Parsha Re'eh, always happens to be right before the month of Elul. And this is the lesson that we have to learn for this coming month, to open our heart, patoach tiftach, open your heart, and aton to ten, we should keep on giving, on helping others. And with this, God should help us, that we should have a Shana Tova Metuka, sweet year coming for all Am Yisrael, all of us together. Have a good Shabbos and enjoy.